And what happens? It fails. You get the big flush here. It retests and it flushes. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Zero to Hero Trader YouTube channel, where we teach you the ins and outs of trading the markets to make you a better trader. Now, before we get started, make sure that you like and subscribe down below, and make sure that you get notified when we post another video. So today, I'm going to be breaking down and doing a deep dive into the head and shoulders pattern and show you how to trade it like a pro. Let's go.
Zero to hero trader, learn to trade in no time. Watch our videos and be sure to subscribe.
Okay guys, so before we get started, if you haven't done it yet, go back and look at this video right up here in the corner to go and get your free PDF of the classic chart patterns that we laid out here in this other video. And go ahead and download that for free, and you can have this by your side while you're trading. It's going to really help you out a lot. So, all right, let's jump into this head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so what is a head and shoulders pattern? All right, this is basically a reversal pattern. And we're going to see it right here. This is the one we're starting out with in this series. So when you have an uptrend, you're going to have this reversal pattern show up sometimes. And it's going to be called a head and shoulders. And why do we call this a head and shoulders? Well, a head and shoulders pattern is going to have basically 5 different elements to it. Okay, so we're going to go through these. All right, so your first element going to be right here, your left shoulder. So price is moving up, gets rejected, comes down, gets rejected again, and forms a little support there, and that creates your left shoulder here. Okay, so that's going to be component number 1. Component number 2, it's going to make another higher high, get rejected again, come back down to that support level that it formed earlier, and that's going to form what you're going to call your head. All right, and that is component number 2, the head of your head and shoulders. Then it's going to bounce off of that support, come back up, make a lower high, and come back down to that support again, forming your third component, which is going to be the right shoulder. So now you can see that prices come up, it's formed the left shoulder here, come back up again, formed your head, come back down, formed the right shoulder, and back down to this area again. This is going to be your fourth component, which is going to be called the neckline. Okay, your neckline is going to be that support area. And what I like to do when I see this forming, when I see it hit that support for the second time, I like to draw this in on my charts. Okay, because I know that if this right shoulder forms, that's going to be my entry point right here. Okay, and the 5th element of this pattern is where it breaks down and you enter and you make your trade there. Okay, now where would we place our stop? Okay, for me, I like to place my stop right above this right shoulder, because if price comes back above this right shoulder, they're going to overtake the market there, and it's going to break out to the upside. So that would be my risk, is reaching above this right shoulder. So my entry point's here, my stop is here, and we're going to let it ride for however much profit you want to take on that. Okay, so that is the basics of the head and shoulders pattern. Okay, now let's go in and take a look at it on the charts. Okay guys, so we're in the charts now, and I found one here on this is a 1-minute chart, and these can form on pretty much anything: stocks, options, forex, futures, whatever you're charting. Okay, this pattern can happen on any of those. Okay, so it's important to know how to recognize these when they show up. Now, another important thing to go over is that they're not always going to be perfect, picture perfect, like what I showed you in the presentation there on the last slide. Just because markets are random, price action is random, and it's not always going to be picture perfect. So you have to know how to spot these when they're not picture perfect, okay? And I think the key to that is knowing the different components like we went over before, the different 5 components. So here is an example, okay, of one on a live chart. Well, it's not live, but on a chart that has transpired in the past, okay? And we'll go over this similar to the way I described it in the other one. All right, so let's go through here. I'm going to pull up a trend line. So if I'm watching this in real time, I see we made an uptrend, made a move up, made a move down, created this little support area. We moved up, made a higher high. Okay, higher high. So we've got component number 1, our left shoulder. We've got component number 2 forming our head. We move back down to the support level here, makes another support, moves back up, gets rejected again. This is our right shoulder. Okay, so now once we start moving up again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my trend line, because I have now made my 2 supports. I see I got a higher high forming that head, and now after this support forms, I'm looking for this to fail. Okay, as it's moving up, I'm looking for this to fail, because I know that if this fails, this is going to form this pattern. Okay, and what happens? It fails, you get the big flush here, it retests, and it flushes. Okay, so now where would our entries be? If we go back, we're looking for our entry to be right near the neckline or right below the neckline. If you want to get in a little bit early, you can get in as it's coming down, but sometimes this will bounce back off. Like I said, you know, you're placing your stop around that, just above that right shoulder. So if we were to enter here, right here, okay, our stop would have been up here, somewhere around that level. All right, so if our entry was here, okay, and our stop is here, we can see price moves back up a little bit, but the shorts took over and took it right on down. Okay, so this would have been a nice trade. All right, so this is kind of how you trade a head and shoulders pattern. And again, it's a reversal pattern with our 5 different elements. All right, we've got our left shoulder, our head, our right shoulder, our neckline, and the flush. All right, guys, so that was the deep dive into the head and shoulders pattern, and hopefully you got something out of this video, and stay tuned for our next one where we're going to be going over the double top. If you haven't yet, go ahead and go back to the video where we introduced this series and get your free PDF with the classic chart patterns, all of them on one sheet, so you can have it during your trading to help you recognize these patterns when they come up. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can get notified when we post the next video, and I will see you in the next one.